Got the old bifocal lenses on here, working on the Losi Nascar when you're dorky in 47 almost. That's just kind of the way life is. Been looking at my steering here on this car, and it's been driving me absolutely crazy. Ran the car yesterday on road, and it did better than it has ever done. I think I shaved like a second off of my overall lap time, but the car still just drove horribly.
We are just about 1 minute into this one. Oh! Back straightaway. Marshall on the back straightaway. Blowing the track apart again. Oh, Slim just kicks it. Kick it again, Slim. Keep the rubber tire on the fly.
We don't need this, do we?
I'm sorry, Slim. Wait, give him another lap.
I'm Chad, this is the Dorky and 40 RC channel, and we're going to keep trying to make the Losi Nascar fast today. And I found some interesting things to show you guys about. Obviously, you saw what was going on there. I've got a link in the description below and a little eye up here if you want to see all of the adventures that we've done with this little car and things that we've done to try to make it improve. Now, I kind of have a feeling some of it, of course, is on me not being the greatest driver, but I'm definitely a better driver than what is going on with this car. I really don't know what the hell. I almost feel that I got a lemon. The car though is really fast. Our hot laps when it comes to the oval have been doing really good. So here's a little bit of oval footage for you right here.
I am. Gas on.
So you can see the car is definitely fast. I'm able to turn some good laps on and off power, feathering things in there. Things have been doing good. The diffs have completely worn out of like grease and stuff now, so they're really free and they are fast. Now for on-road, of course, we probably would want a little bit of grease or oil in there to help get us around the corners and stuff, but we're focusing on oval for the next couple weeks. But that doesn't mean that we can't get this thing together. Let me show you what I have found out now. Now, one of the things we do in on-road racing is you see people doing like left and right type of circles. Like you want your car to turn the same amount left than it does to the right. So that way your steering is as linear and predictable as possible. I noticed that my car made very, very good left circles, but it made a right circle that was just completely almost 3 times the size. And I found the issue and another potential issue. And again, I'm kind of convinced here that some of this might be my own doing. Maybe it is, maybe it all is, but also just kind of the way that there might be an issue with this car. Be interested to see if anybody else is like this. So what we're talking about is this area here in the front where the steering rack comes through, and you can see how it's kind of an angle right here. So your steering rack kind of comes in like this and then goes this way back and forth. And if you look at mine here, now this whole area is just, you know, there's nothing linear about this at all. You know, depending upon what radio you have and how well the potentiometers are inside of it, you're going to have various levels of recentering issues, and you're also just going to have various levels of error as far as trim and all that goes. Now, what I can see here is that you can see we have the shafts coming in this way, and then we have, for a pretty straight trim here on the bench, the servo is kicked over a little bit that way. So what was happening, probably I had these pins up here a little bit too tight, this top housing here. So it was limiting my throw from left to right. But what I want you to look at now, and now you're not going to typically run these cars at 100% steering on your remote anyway. But I've noticed that in order to avoid this problem, I've had to go down below 50%. And I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to need that much steering or not, because I've never had one steer appropriately for a true on-road race yet. But watch this area here. I've got the dual rate up to 100% just so you can see exactly what happens. So see the plastic flexing there? So the arm is basically hitting that plastic that's right there. It literally is binding it up. Now it's able to push through it. This servo is the regular one that comes in it, which is fine. You can see that, like, if we go any further, we're going to be hitting our shock towers on either side. But, you know, when you turn right, you know, that is definitely a problem, because that is going to be resistance, and that is going to basically make your car push. Now, it seems like I said it's able to power through it, but it's definitely going to wear your servo out. And, you know, we don't want to do anything like that at all. And if you take a look right inside of here, you know, we're talking about like this channel. You can't just go ahead and start at the top and like cut all of this out, because this actual diff plate rests on top of here, which will secure your pins. So I think what needs to be done, as far as I could tell, is that we need to remove some material right here, so that way we do not get that flex and binding. Like I said, we could take the dual rate here and we could turn it down to 50%. And I think right at about 50%, there is no flex. Yeah, there's no flex, but you're probably still going to need more steering than that. You know, you can also see that, like, my car definitely steers more to the left than it does to the right. And I mean, it's just what I have with this remote and whatever's going on between it and the receiver. And I've tried binding up different remotes to it, and it all is pretty much the same thing. So it's just kind of where my car is, which really sucks, because I want my car to run good. But if we turn the dual rate up just a little bit, like let's say 70%, then we can already see that it is hitting that plastic. And it very well might be hitting that plastic at a lower dual rate. It's just not demonstrating it as much because we don't have as much power going through like we do right there. So I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and pull this top off, and I'm going to remove some material in there, so that way that big thick arm, which does kind of like ride up and down a little bit too. So, you know, you have to kind of get in there and clean that channel out pretty good. And it looks like it's going to need a pretty decent amount of material taken out of it. So, you know, do you want to leave it and just power through it? You probably can, but you know, when we're trying to make these as best as we can. It's a NASCAR. It's supposed to turn left, but Losi really, you know, all of the option parts that they have made for this thing are to make it a true on-road car. We've got the harder springs, we've got the bleedable shocks, we've got different compounds for tires. So, you know, they're really trying to push this as an on-road car. And if you don't have appropriate left-right steering, then you're just never going to have an on-road car. So I'm going to take mine apart, and we're going to take the Dremel to it and get rid of some of that material. Let's see how we look. So I figured we would do a 2-for-1 here. So we took out some material on the shaft there so we wouldn't hit that side. That should be all right. It's not holding anything in. You just don't want to get too far up into here to hit your bearings. There should be a definite mark on yours. There was on mine where the steering servo is hitting. And then if we look at what I did in here, maybe it's a little too much, maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. But I just kind of hogged all of that out right there and tried to leave that little perch on the top right-hand corner for everything to set back in. So let's put this all back together and see what we got. All right, I think we are good. Mission accomplished. We got everything put back on here together. So our drive line is still nice and free. which is what we want, especially when we're getting ready to run oval. Maybe we'll play with the diffs again later on. We can still see that we're having the servo recentering issue, which we're always going to have. That's just the way it is. Again, we went over that earlier, but you know, you just got to tweak it back a little bit. Not a big deal, but take a look right in here. You can see if we turn the dual rate all the way up, we are not hitting at all on that side. Inside here, I still see this lift a little bit when we go to full reach. So I'm not 100% sure what is causing that. I don't see it hitting anything else inside there, but you can see that we are definitely tucking up underneath there now. And you can see that it is all hogged out. There's a little bit of material right there that you can see in the center of the screen at the very top, but it's just not hitting it. I've already verified it with that. It's not. I can stick a screwdriver, you know, MIP driver in there. So it's definitely not hitting it. So we definitely have gotten rid of that, another potential binding issue on this car. And you can see the throws now, you know, max, we're almost hitting the shock tower that way. And we are almost hitting the shock over here. So I really don't know what else we can do to this little car that we have not done to it already. If you're scared to do this, I would say don't be. It's pretty easy. You can even see here real close that I accidentally and took out a little bit of that little lip right there, and it doesn't matter. This still, the way this all goes together, it's such tight fitting and good molded plastic that it still captures those pins no matter what. And then you're screwing down in here. So really this resting on the frame doesn't seem to have any effect at all. So again, tighten your screws up, but don't make them over tight. So that way you're not getting any binding at all while you have the center shaft off. You know, if you do what I did one of my other videos, and you go ahead and hog those holes out a little bit, you know, so you're getting less binding there. So, you know, we're pretty much just left now with the normal amount of slop on everything, which is fine. That's what we want and expect out of an RTR car. It's all good. But, you know, I need mine to be able to steer. I think that was a major problem, and we got that fixed. So I guess we'll see whether or not you guys have that. I did have an extra chassis as well in case I ruined it, but this is my old first chassis, which I'm fairly certain is still okay. I just originally swapped chassis because, you know, I thought I was having issues with all the binding and stuff that was going on that we found in the car. And again, if you take a look at the playlist that I'll link up here and in the description below, you can see all of the trials and tribulations that have happened with this little Losi NASCAR. So now we will be on to Oval Racing Wednesday in a big trophy oval race this weekend. So hopefully this puppy is ready to go and we can do better than we did last time, which we finished second out of 2. So there should be a lot more of them out this weekend. So competition should be pretty tight. So that's it. We will talk to you guys later. Peace.